What's up? What's up? What's up? It's Monday, so it must be time for
It's More You Know Mondays.
Woo!
Yeah.
Let's do a thing. Do a thing. Where's a thing? There it is. All right. What's going on, everyone? Particularly Jeff. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Had a great weekend as well I can here. But you, man, you're hitting all your Comic Cons and all throughout the summer here. So, man, what did you get? You have anything you can show real quick?
Let's see. Well, I got plenty of stuff for to sell around and stuff. I will be dropping a video right after this show of my Comic-Con experience. Took me a little while to get things all put together, but I got several of these. Sam De La Rosa, met him, super nice guy, signed a lot of stuff for me.
Nice.
You and I, we practice what we preach, right? I picked up this killer promotional comic, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It says this issue free with purchase of any size of concentrated all. So, I think this came in like a box. I don't know. A box.
It must be a really clean copy.
I have no idea. But, I just love it. The big thing there, with any purchase of all. Let's see.
Hey, Pop, how's it going? Matthew, what's up, buddy? Gorilla Todd, Las Cruces. Welcome, guys. Appreciate it. Another great show for you today.
Really nice copy. This was a beautiful copy I picked up, 9.0, $45. Okay, if you can pick up a Silver Age 9.0 at $45, you should be jumping on that all day long. So it's Avengers Annual number 4.
Nice.
It's actually Kirby artwork. So yeah, I mean, if you see that kind of stuff, man, even if you don't collect that, I mean, come on, you got to pick that up. And then this was for the PC, working on that Tales to Astonish Silver Age run. A beautiful copy of number 56.
Is that the dude from Monopoly?
I think it is. Yeah. So he's got Wasp in like one of those little jars. So he's gonna pin her up. But yeah, that's a few little things for myself, So about you? What did you do this weekend in Tennessee? What was happening there?
Well, I had 3 shows on Whatnot this weekend. So
oh my god.
Yeah, so it was busy. Had I kicked off the Star Wars weekend. I know you were part of that as well. So
I was.
Friday I did that one, and then Friday night I had my normal Friday night show where I give away a 9.8 slab.
Wow.
And then Sunday is my other big night, so I had another big show on Sunday. So yeah, I was just packing. I was doing a lot of packing this weekend.
Wow, yeah. I definitely got a lot of packing. I did my Star Wars show yesterday at noon. Really great. I'm glad all the fans and supporters came out. I think Whatnot did a great job advertising and pushing the shows. I know they dropped a thing with a schedule every morning of what the schedules were for that day. So yeah, I thought it was well organized, and definitely I had a good turnout. So
very cool. Yeah, that Tales was the first cover appearance of Monopoly Man.
There you go. So, but
K-Pop was in DC.
DC.
What'd you do in DC, K-Pop? All right, what are we talking about today, my friend?
Man, I realized this morning that I hadn't come up with a topic, so I looked back at our list, and thank goodness we made that list months ago. And one of the things we had on there was talking about some of the stuff centered around the 90s boom, and what would a 90s boom be without Wizard magazine? Come on. I mean, if you were alive during the early 90s and collecting comics and stuff, this thing was everywhere. So
it was on my list. It got to the point where I was choosing between, do I get a comic or do I get Wizard? And I would choose Wizard 9 times out of 10 until I got the subscription. So I had issue 1 through I think 75 or something like that for the longest time. So I loved it.
I have a long box, and I think I have right now issue 1 through 50 or 60. I went and I pulled out the first part of the long box. Ow! This is issue 1 through 13 right here that I pulled out. So
that's right, K-pop. You had a poster. It was the first. I mean, I know where I'm jumping ahead here.
I don't have anything about. Yeah, here's the poster in this one. This is, of course, the All Valiant issue. So here's your Exo Man of War poster. So by Barry Windsor Smith. It's funny. I was looking through this. This is the Days of 900 numbers. So you could call Selena's comic hotline. $1.95 the first minute and 75 cents additional minute. Says, I'm Selena, seeker and seer of knowledge. Born upon the interstellar winds, I roam the multiverse and glean insights and information. Call my comics hotline. I will reveal unto you the latest and most exciting events in the many worlds of comics. Find out what's hot and what's not. Caller options include Marvel, DC, Valiant, Independence, and comics news.
Comics nudes?
Nudes.
I have a feeling you called that number a few times.
I was like, Selena, just talk to me. Just moan a little bit. But yeah. So Selena, definitely. So yeah, kind of some odd stuff. So let's see. Yes. Just trying to do this.
Work that PowerPoint magic, my friend.
Work it. All right. There we go. Yeah, the legacy of Wizard magazine, man. So a little history about Wizard. I think this person's kind of infamous now. Gareb Shamus, who founded Wizard in 1991. He was right out of college. And, say what you like about Shamus, but without him, hundreds of thousands of geeks in the heartland may never have experienced a large-scale Comic-Con thanks to Wizard World in the 2000s. I know I've been to my share of Wizard World cons in Dallas. They had them in New Orleans. But, I think he's based around Chicago.
Yep, I've had many booths at Wizard World there.
Okay, and so Chicago, really from Chicago to like Dallas is your heartland, and he brought a lot of cons to those areas that maybe would not have normally done cons and stuff. So gotta say something about that. Wizard is probably best known for its infamous price guide, but also included a lot of upcoming news and comics that you really didn't get anywhere else. I mean, you had Comics Buyer's Guide and the Comic Book Marketplace back then in the day, but those were literally newspapers, right, that you would flip through and stuff. This is slick and color and pictures and stuff, right? It wasn't black and white newsprint. I think that definitely helped the appeal of the magazine.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it came at a point in history, in comic history, where it needed a refresh. Like you said, all the things that were available at the time were in, the newspaper kind of format there. They were kind of boring. They were dull. We're talking about, early 90s here. We're talking about, big muscles. We're talking about pouches upon pouches. We're talking about excitement, story, not so much. It's all about the excitement. We got the comic boom going on. Wizard came in at a perfect time. His unique cover art there really captured you, and it really catered to, fans, and because it really was kind of done by fans. I know you're going to go into it in a minute here, but you pick that one up, and it's night and day compared to what was available at the time. Yeah. And like I said, they had the was like the fan picks, like there was fan casting, if I remember.
Yeah, yeah. I was just looking at
there's some really cool things.
I was just looking at this one in here, and it had
what's up, Scarecrow? Appreciate it coming by, man.
Let's see.
Shutter Duck, what is up? Yeah, like I said, the original cover art, like I said, the high paper quality, the glossy thing, it really, really stood out.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say that that's what people necessarily wanted, but sometimes you don't know what you want until someone brings it to you, and it's like, oh wow, yes, I did want this.
I think that's Steve Jobs' model, or was his model.
Do what?
That was Steve Jobs' model.
Where was it in here? Yeah, here it is. So, X-Men, for the X-Men movie, they have Robert De Niro as Wolverine.
Yep, I remember those.
So, and Arnold Schwarzenegger to play Colossus.
Of course.
So, and then some supermodel named Paulina as Psylocke. So, kind of interesting. I honestly don't remember her, but maybe if I saw a better picture, I have to admit the quality of the pictures in here aren't that good now. In the my older eyes. Later on, they did have some really good independent reviews. They pushed a lot of Image and Valiant. And of course, Todd McFarlane started doing some columns there for a while. And like we just talked about, Wizard is definitely a source of nostalgia. Wizard was probably prominently displayed in the early videos by cartoonist kayfabe. That's kind of where they got their start. Was flipping through Wizards. So a little timeline. Wizard ran for 235 issues from 1991 to 2001. And, I mean, it outsold 90% of the comic books on the stands back in the 90s. It consistently had sales of over 100,000 copies when, most books were doing 60, 80,000. Only your bigger books like Spider-Man, Batman, X-Men would do more than Wizard. There were several spin-off magazines, Toy Fair, which I remember collecting, Inquest Gamer for collectible card games, Anime Insider for anime and manga, and Toy Wishes. I've heard of Anime Insider. I'll admit I've never heard of the other two. So,
nearby.
The magazine underwent several changes beginning in 2006 with changes with many editors. Mark Millar actually was one of the last editors for Wizard before its cancellation. And Wizard did continue for a short time after 2011 as an online publication known as Wizard World.
Right. I mean, in the very beginning, I don't know if we want to talk about that, but from my understanding, from what I remember, it was essentially started, was it two brothers? Did it from their parents' comic book store, which was called Wizard Comics or something or other. They did it as a newsletter to begin with, and that's how it kind of started. So they were done by comic book people, and they were trying to figure out, obviously, anything they could do to sell more comic books in their store. So it really was geared towards, buy comic book people who knew about the industry and how to sell stuff. And they were just big fans themselves. And from what I heard, I don't know if I remember this correctly or not, but they couldn't get a job. So that's when they started this newsletter kind of thing. And it kind of morphed into the Wizard magazine part of it here. And the beginning part of it was, they would go after artists, and say, hey, these pages kind of suck, or this artist wasn't the greatest, on there. And they really wanted to build that kind of rock star marketing, slick marketing kind of thing. And I know some people bash on them because, they took money from, like you said, Valiant and Image to do more
A
articles for
lot of
them
money.
and do more
Yeah.
advertising. But that's a magazine. That's what magazines do. So I absolutely think they should do something like this again, because I think the marketplace kind of misses something like that. I know there's a lot of things you can look online, but it's not the same. At least in my mind, I like having that
Yeah.
magazine, but yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
did a
Yeah.
great job in the beginning and really catered towards the fans, and the fans felt like they had something they can do because there was no Facebook groups, there was no online stuff really in the early 90s. So it was really kind of a fun thing where you could submit, artwork that you did, or you can submit toys that you did, and you get it published in there.
Right. Right. No, I agree with you. I do feel like there's a hole in the collector market for something like that. Hear what people are working on, and especially nowadays that creators tend to not only maybe create for Marvel, but they also do some independent projects like for Image or whatever.
Right.
And I'll be honest, there's a lot of comics I look at nowadays. It's like I have no idea who this artist is or who this writer is. And Wizard did introduce you to those people and let you know a little bit about what was going on with them.
Right. I mean, because there wasn't too many other outlets that people can go to,
No.
like the internet really as big as it is now. You can see all the different variant covers people do, and different websites are promoting different artists. If Wizard kind of, picked you and chose you and put you on a cover or as one of the up and coming artists, you started becoming a rock star and you started to get a lot more notoriety on this. And now there's not a whole lot of really kind of rock star artists that you can kind of like name out there like there were back in the 90s.
No, and I was flipping like through this issue, and it has a short 2-page article about Larry Stroman. I mean, I knew it, but Larry Stroman's black. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's little things like that. It's like I don't know anything about what this person looks like, or who they are, or anything. Even at the con this weekend, I mean, some of the people I knew, but it's like Sam Del Rosa is wearing a mask and a hat, dude. If it wasn't for this kid saying, "Yeah, this is him right here," I wouldn't have known it.
There's some guy they picked up off the street.
Yeah, just a homeless guy he picked up. So the Wizard World cons. So I guess they've always been kind of associated, but the big thing was they started their Wizard Fan Awards in 1993. The first one was at Dragon Con. The second one was at Great Eastern Convention in Philadelphia. And then the third one was at Chicago Comic-Con in 1995. And then that's where it stayed. And they actually ended up purchasing Chicago Comic-Con in 1997. And I actually looked up wizardworld.com. I think that's it. And there is still a Wizard World that goes on in Chicago every single year.
Yeah.
And it's coming up in October. You can also buy a lot of merchandise and stuff from the merchandise store there. They have a lot of autographs from previous celebrities. They have some convention exclusive comics. All of them are less than perfect condition. So they must be the damaged ones that they wasn't able to sell at the cons. But you can pick them up for $1 to $3. I think I might take a chance on buying, a couple of convention exclusives, from 10 years ago for $1. I mean,
right.
I don't know how damaged it could be. I mean, all it says is less than perfect condition, but
isn't didn't they sell the Wizard World cons to Gene Simmons' company? Doesn't Gene Simmons now own Wizard World?
I don't know. Now, I'll be honest with you. You was talking a minute ago about the history. I was really surprised there's not better history online about Wizard in general. Like, even if you go to the Wikipedia, it doesn't even talk about Gareb Shamus as being the founder of Wizard. I knew that, you know, and I found other articles that knew that, but it wasn't even in the wiki. So I found it kind of difficult. The only thing I could comprehend, because I was kind of looking for things like that, is the company Wizard World does still own Chicago, right? I think that's the only convention they actually bought out, from what I could understand. And they would just go to these other cities and put on a convention. So I think they still own Wizard World, but I'm not sure of any of the other details there that I could figure out. And then
I don't know where I heard it somewhere, because I was right when I stopped going there, because the the sales were going down on it. It wasn't really about comics at all. It was about the more of the cosplay, kind of everything, and the signatures, and just getting all that. It really wasn't about the comics anymore. And I know one of the last booths I bought, they're estimated for their traffic, they said, was going to be way down, and they said they weren't sure if they was going to keep going. And I thought I heard something where one of the groups that Gene Simmons is a part of ends up buying it. I was trying to find it right here. Oh, well, I'll find it in a little bit.
Okay. I don't know, Southern Comic Geek. I was kind of surprised when I was looking for the logo to Fan Expo. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know that was a national thing. So up until I was editing my video for the convention this past weekend, which again I'll be dropping right after the show. So y'all check that out. But yeah, apparently there's Fan Expo is a company name that they put on several shows across the country. So I didn't know that. I thought it was a strictly Dallas thing. But all right, so some of the ugly stuff. A lot of people really, really, really did not like Wizard, and it's promoting and I don't know. I'll let Frank Miller tell us. So Frank Miller, in his acceptance speech for the Harvey Award in 2001, famously held up a copy of Wizard magazine and tore it up during his speech, and then threw it in a garbage can as he exited the podium. And here is a quote. He says, "Even though this monthly vulgarity reinforces all the prejudice people hold about comics, they cry to all the world that we're as cheap and stupid and trashy as they think we are, and we sponsor this assault." Miller said as he ripped apart an issue of the magazine on stage, "We pay for the goddamn privilege. But really, when we finally get around to flushing this load of crap once and for all." So yeah, obviously not a huge fan of Wizard and its promotion of, I don't know, that is probably maybe one of the negatives, right? Even I feel is a negative towards Wizard, is that there's a lot of sugar and not much substance sometimes.
Absolutely. That's how I've always viewed it. And I know there's some people that are like, it needs to be hard-hitting journalism, and we want the inside scoop with stuff. Right. And I'm like, no. For my love of Wizard and everything, like I said, was the early 90s. And like I said, it was all sugar. It was basically like the People magazine of the comic book world.
Yeah.
It was great stories, very quick little articles, ADD kind of articles, read a few seconds here, then goes to the next one over here. Awesome splash page of something else here. Moves on to this thread. Look at this fan art here. Look at this movie over here. That's what I loved about it. It was so quick and it just bounced around. And that's what it's meant to be. It's not meant to be. People are putting it up on this kind of pedestal of saying it should have been, like the comic book news back in the day. And it should be we really need independent, hard-hitting journalism in this. And I'm like, no, that's not fun.
Yeah. And I could agree with that. Maybe that's what we were wanting, was maybe some of the pop and circus and things like that was associated with Wizard.
Yeah, so I can totally understand why someone like Frank Miller would look at this and go, "This is just trash." This
sure,
is what.
Sure.
Yeah, I totally get that, but for me, that's what I loved about it.
Right.
That's why people buy, National Enquirer. They see those articles, and I want to know how the aliens impregnated the Bigfoot. I want to know that.
Oh, I'll show you later. So, anyway, sorry, there's a spot on this cover, and my OCD, I had to clean it off. Okay. All right, the speculator boom. Wizard, and I'll agree with this, Wizard's often cited for fueling the speculator boom that nearly killed the comics industry. It was pushing these the Image. I'm going to leave kind of Valiant out of that. I'll just say Image for now. I had a guy, I was talking to AJ from Graham Cracker. You probably know Graham Cracker Comics, being from the Illinois area.
It was my first job I ever had.
Yeah, okay. And I was talking to AJ, and younger guy in his mid-20s, and we were talking, he's like, "So you owned a store actually during that time?" I'm like, yeah. And he's like, "I would love to hear your perspective," and I love it when people want me to tell a story. I love telling stories.
Tell me a story, Uncle Shelby.
Tell me a story, Uncle Shelby. Well, come sit on my lap, AJ. Let me tell you about it.
Let's take a turn.
And I will say, Image killed the comic industry, period. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't other factors or things like that went on. And yeah, Jason came along around me, and he was standing there with me. He had this Alex Schoenberg print. Oh my God. I don't regret not buying it, Jason, but I'm still thinking about it. That they just couldn't get stuff out on time, and that just killed us. Even for the bad stuff Marvel's putting out and everything. At least they got stuff out on time. It wasn't good, but at least it's out on time. So anyway, I actually stole a couple of these quotes here. Wizard are blamed for building up a cult of personality around certain marginal creators. But was Wizard solely responsible for mediocre talent that barfed out crappy comics? Not exclusively, but the magazine certainly nurtured certain artists and writers, even if the artistic talents were largely questionable. It's amazing what money can buy. And if you take a deep look, and I'll again refer to Cartoonist Kayfabe, if y'all do not subscribe to that channel, go subscribe. Jim Rugg and Ed Piskor do some great shows, but they're early shows where they go through the Wizard magazines one page at a time. You really start to see and notice the ads put out by Image and by Valiant, and it was definitely, the magazine was catered quite a bit to them, and And then you start noticing how the prices for those things are shown a little higher, how the top 10 list shows more of these books, right? So it was a pretty hand-in-hand type of operation, right? Because they were paying a lot of the bills with the advertisements. So, of course, their artists and writers and stuff, someone had to pay for all those ads. That's for sure, K-pop. You see that reflected in a lot of what was in there. So,
yeah, I mean, it's very similar to, I was in the dietary supplement industry for many, many years, and it's the same exact thing. If you pick up a Flex magazine or Muscular Development or something like that, you're going to see, the top 10 supplements they recommend suddenly correlates very closely to the top advertisers in the magazine, or their athletes or the ones featured on the cover and everything. It's the same thing. It's if they're paying the money for it, they're definitely going to get much better things, much better mentions in the magazine. So I totally get that side of it, but at the same token, if the mass population wasn't loving it, they wouldn't be doing it that much. Their sales would tank very quickly. So it was feeding both ways. Did everyone love Rob Liefeld's, stuff at the time? Not everyone, but remember, that was the peak of it. He was doing Levi commercials with Spike Lee. I mean, so it was a big time right now. And it's all about the artwork and who had the bigger personality doing it. So,
yeah. So to answer Todd's question, real quick is, Todd, I was standing there talking to Andy at Duncanville Comics, and he's been around since the early 90s, and somehow what we were talking about was Unknown Comics, and we were kind of somehow he made the correlation between Unknown and Wizard magazine, and everybody used that price guide, okay? Because I mean, if Wizard, we use what price guide showed the highest price, so we could.
That's what I was working
about as store owners, And I said that to AJ. I said, look, man, you got to understand that comics had been relegated to a children's hobby for so long and then in the 80s, the baseball card market was this huge boom. The coin market was this huge boom. Comics was just eager to have its time. And when we started getting some recognition, right, in the late 80s, early 90s, with, sales of Action Comics 1, and Death of Superman and all that, okay? Hey, we gobbled it up. And I'll say we as a store owner, we freaking gobbled it up because we were wanting that so much. And it became cool to own a comic store, to, deal in comics. And, we didn't know we did it to ourselves though, right? We understand that too. We built into it as much as anyone else is to blame. We put air in that bubble that burst too, okay? Because we wanted that recognition and we wanted to be seen as a legitimate hobby, like coins were, like baseball cards were. We wanted that. So, we're as much to blame. But anyway,
it was the perfect time. Everything fed into each other. The direct market was booming. The newsstand market was crashing for that. I said it was the perfect time for that. And, like I said, it's just a perfect storm of everything building into it. So,
yep. Welcome, actual Dracula. As a tongue twister. I don't think I've ever seen you here before. Welcome, my friend. Welcome. We're glad to have you here. All right. So Wizard did change the industry, so for as much as we want to beat up on Sheamus and everything else surrounding it, times were already changing when Wizard arrived. All right. I just alluded to that, right? It all really started around 87, 88 with the black and white boom. Comics getting some recognition, being seen as an actual art form. You had publications like Mouse that had gained some notoriety as and won like big awards and stuff in literature. So it was already happening. There was being pushed for creators' rights in comics. Neil Adams was doing big pushes for this. This was all happening in the late 80s. You saw the advent of the toy industry start up. You saw Marvel being sold to New World. There were these things going on. You had the Batman movie in 1988, which brought a big boom to the comics industry. Yep. So we were poised for something like Wizard to come along. And the comic industry, frankly, probably needed something like Wizard at that time. Comic shows were, I stole these quotes here, were often seedy but friendly events held at the Ramada Inn, close to a highway off-ramp, and that's true. Hey, yep. I've set up at plenty of Ramada Inns, comic book shows, and collectors, readers, and dealers would converge. But it was Wizard that brought this Hollywood-fueled mass media, right? And sugar and candy and caffeine and all that, all those things, adjectives that we want to say, to the hobby. And that is what propelled these conventions to become bigger and bigger, which we didn't have before. And I feel that was a lot due to Wizard. So, I think we enjoy a lot of the things, just like the convention we were at this past weekend. I mean, that was a huge con, with a lot of big celebrities there.
Yeah, you would never get a big celebrity coming to the Ramada Inn or a Holiday Inn. It was always the mom of what was her name? I forgot her name. From the first Superman movies. It was like his mom's mom, like his grandma or something like that showed up for like a few minutes in it. That was the big draw. She was in the Superman movie. Maybe you'll get Flash Gordon there. Of course, Luke Ferrigno would go. He'll go everywhere. But those are the biggest things you're ever going to get in one of these places. So to have it be a true, legitimate, we're going out and we're getting big name people to come here. That was like I said, unheard of to come to the Ramada Inn.
but even the other side of it is you also have like, I'm the guy that played Walrus Tooth in the Star Wars movies, becoming in stars and stuff, right? Or, I'm the guy that puppeted Hammerhead's mouth or whatever, signing autographs.
I was working the tail for Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. So you have the other side of it too, right? Hey, Corey Feldman was a nice guy when I met him. He was super nice. I got a picture with him. He was super, super friendly. His wife was a little aggravated. I didn't want her in the picture. But anyway.
Because you're asking him to sit on your lap? Was that why?
He is kind of short. So anyway. That's kind of it. I just feel like I just kind of bring some things up, some of the good and bad, but like I said, I think we wouldn't be where we're at if it wasn't for this stupid magazine that all of us freaking purchased.
We gobbled it up, man.
And buying them again. I mean,
and you're going back and buying it again.
going back and buying them again. So,
yeah, it was definitely fun. When it got towards the end of the run, I only picked up a few issues, here and there when it got towards the end of it, and it seemed to have lost a lot of that. But in the beginning, it really captured all that excitement, like you said, in one point in time, and it did fuel a lot of things. But that's what we wanted. We love that high octane adrenaline 90s flash. Give me as many pouches and muscles as you can, and they did a great job in delivering that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like I said, we were the ones that was wanting it, and they delivered it. So, or we didn't know we wanted it until they delivered it, and then we wanted more.
That's exactly it.
So, oh man. So, well, I'm happy everybody kind of shared a few of there. Did I miss anything in the chat while I was?
We're talking about who your type is.
I don't know my type is. Yeah. That's right. I want my MTV.
Yeah.
I still have somewhere my MTV button that I got back from, when MTV first aired, the cable company sent out little buttons, and I still have mine somewhere.
Yeah, that was another company that did a great job marketing with no money. They had virtually no money, and they did a good job.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so you see, because I know a couple people mentioned on here. I know there's some websites like CBR and stuff like that are kind of trying to be like the wizard now. I just don't feel like it's the same thing. I don't know why. It just doesn't feel like it feels like there's a void still in the industry that if someone came out with this now, it would do really well. It wouldn't have done well like 5-10 years ago, but if someone came out with a Wizard World high octane, give me all the sugar and caffeine that you can and put it out, I think it would do really well right now.
Yeah. You do have, I guess, Go Collect that they kind of do articles and stuff pretty regularly, but I'll be honest, I don't keep up with what I was getting notifications for a little while till it got aggravating, because a lot of it, 95% of the articles I didn't care about.
All right.
So, but no, I think I think something, and I don't know what it would look like, if it'd be a Wizard or what. I think that was probably one of Wizard's issues, is it tried to be everything.
Right.
Price guide, action. That's the first time you saw action figure listings, and such. Which now, I think that in itself created the action figure collectible market, which is huge, right now.
Yep.
I
mean, look at the Marvel trading card market now that didn't exist.
Oh yeah, they have the trading cards in here, right? Yeah. So they were trying to hit everything, and then they kind of went into television and movies and stuff in the late 90s.
Yeah, and started to stretch a little too much. Yeah. But now you think about it, because everything is, any of us can put up a website and start talking about, hey, we're breaking this news and we're talking about this stuff. But if you come out with the actual physical magazine in your hand and is distributed, through a Diamond or Penguin or whoever into the comic book stores, that gives you a certain amount of credibility instantly. And I think people would flock to that right now, because there's so many websites saying so many different things and misinformation about what's there and these leaks that aren't true and everything. I think people would love it.
Yeah. And there is a certain, how do you say it? With print media, it's pretty simple. if I want to read this, I have to pay $4.95 or whatever the price is. I understand also the economics of this, right? I have ads in here which I sell for some amount of money that then helps me print what I need to, and then I make my profit from the sales. Pretty simple. With online, a lot more difficult, right? I mean, people expect maybe to get things for free online, but you know, you've got to pay artists, you've got to pay writers. You know, where does that then come from? And then trying to sell ad revenue, you know, with websites is still something kind of difficult. You know, I mean, I don't think Marvel and DC are paying, or Image, you know, are going to be paying you to, you know, do that. So
yeah, not until you get a lot of unique visits to your website, and you can say, "Hey, I've got a 750,000 unique visitors every month to my website." You know, that equates to, you want a banner ad on here, give me 10 grand a month, you know, or whatever it works out to be. But yeah, I mean, it's very hard to get that kind of traction nowadays because there's millions and millions of comic websites right now.
Yeah,
but there's really none comic magazines. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you guys want to join the GoFundMe to do Shelby Comics Wizard Magazine.
Yeah, I ain't writing. Y'all hear enough of my stories for free. Why would y'all pay for it? So, all right. Well, unless anybody else has a topic or something they want to talk about or throw out there,
we're good.
Yeah. So, what you got going on this week, Jeff?
Let's see, just getting caught up and everything. You know, of course, got my Friday and Sunday show. I'm going to do one more show sometime on either Tuesday or Wednesday. Not sure when yet for that. But that's all I got. What do you got going on? Where are you going to be?
You know, I'm not sure if Thunder's going to do. I think he's kind of moved to a bi-weekly schedule, I think, on his auctions, from what I understand.
So Gorilla's by now.
You know, I'm probably going to try and do some whatnot shows this week, see if I can keep some of that momentum going from the excellent Star Wars sale that I had. And yeah, you know, try to find a time slot that Gorilla's not doing a 4-hour midnight show or something. He's got nighttime wrapped up right now. So
Gorilla, you got it on lockdown at night, man. You have insomnia, check out Gorilla Todd on Whatnot. He will be there.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
All right,
So
man.
yeah, that's about it. So next week we will be over on Jeff's channel, and you got any idea what we're going to talk about, or going to surprise us?
I'm not sure yet. I'm debating between two different ideas, so we'll figure out which one. I've been liking bringing in these other people, you know, some other people that kind of shed some expertise in here. So I'm waiting to hear back from a couple of people. But yeah, it'll be hopefully another fun one that you guys like talking about. I still got a few questions about the NFT one, you know, the digital comic thing. So
I had several people talk to me about that at the con. I was talking to one of the guys that work with Andy, and we had kind of a long conversation about it. I did meet, of course, some people. I talked to, I'm not going to say his name right, so I'm not going to try, but the guy that owns Frankie's Comics, you know, the one that has the Pug Dog logo.
Yep.
They've been doing some really great variant covers and stuff. It's just a small operation in North Carolina. Him and his wife. Might have him on as a guest. Talk to him a little bit. He made a connection with I'd have to find their card. That's who walked up and handed me their card. Never Jason. I was standing there. I'd have to find their card now, but they do a podcast, and maybe talked about doing some trading off with them. Like maybe we come on their podcast, they come on our channel, and kind of have some cross pollination there, and such. So,
Okay.
but yeah, so definitely a lot of people, and of course, met a lot. Talked to a lot of artists and stuff. Might be someone coming up that so say some pretty big books that might have as a guest. So I'll just leave it at that.
All right. Little mystery. I like it. Little cliffhanger. Get them coming back.
So keep checking back with us every week on Mondays. All right. Nothing else? Everybody good?
Yep. Looks like everyone's good here.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for checking out. We appreciate everyone on here. Shelby, get us out of here.
Yeah. Hey, drop that thumbs up. Give me a sub if you haven't already. I do see a couple new people in here. Please sub me up. It always helps out. Hey, Shutter Duck. Glad to see you there. Drop us a like. Leave us a comment. Tell us if maybe there's a topic you want us to talk about. Maybe you want to be a guest. Say, hey, I know something about this, and I think it's important, and y'all should have me as a guest. And we will vote and figure it out. So, all right. But with that, we're going to say peace.
Peace.
Love
and comics.
Thank you all. Good night.
Hey guys.